Hi, everybody. So, I wanted to kind of come on here and just kind of give my thoughts about the recent Grammys, most particularly about that little, well, not little, but I should say Jay-Z and the speech that he had given, particularly the piece about his wife. I'm not going to get into, the award and all of that, but the thing he had to say about his wife winning album of the year, or rather not winning album of the year. um I seen that clip circulating on YouTube, and I watched it, and I felt like it was a bit selfish in a way and distasteful, and here is why. Jay-Z and Beyonce have kind of made it. They've made it in a big way. I mean, you talk about success, they have it. Status, they have it. Fame, it's there. So they have made it and beyond. I mean, Beyonce is like considered, one of the greatest entertainers of our time. Not all time, but our time. And the reason why I don't want to say all time is because I feel like if I were to say all time, I would be disrespecting the legacy of Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, the Aretha Franklins, those legends. So I kind of want to just limit it to of our time, because really she is. There is, for our time, there is no one like Beyonce. So I think it's fitting to say our time. Greatest performer, we've never seen. I mean, I've never been to a Beyonce show, but for those who have, people are like, ain't nothing like a Beyonce show. So, and just from seeing clips on, YouTube and stuff, like it's a production and it takes work to pull, so them shows be creative. I mean, on the creative side, so we gave her that. Um, and I just feel like for someone of their caliber and someone who has the success that they have, that you would think that he would go up there, especially on the night of him winning such an award. You would think that he would be the one to go up there and kind of encourage and applaud the rest of these artists who won that night. I mean, just me considering Jay Z as being this, brilliant, iconic, legendary, mogul businessman, I would expect him to be the one to go up there and kind of applaud these artists on their big night and congratulate them as he's accepting his prestigious award, right? But instead, you have an icon up there who chooses to uses that moment to kind of sabotage others a little bit. It's like, and it was a weird thing to watch, because it's like, here you are being this person that you are, accepting this type of award, and then you're sabotaging other people. The whole thing about some of y'all don't belong in categories, and Beyonce has won all these Grammys, and it's interesting that she hasn't won Album of the Year. And I will get to that. Just that right there, I felt like, man, like, like that is not the night all the time or the time to do that. I just felt like him deciding to do that kind of really, I don't know. I was like, man, like, nah, bro, like that ain't how you supposed to do this. Like, you supposed to go up there, get your award, congratulate these people and enjoy the night, have some champagne. You're Jay-Z. Like, the hell? It's like you on another level, like, and not on a level in terms of, oh, you better than everybody, type of vibe, but just it's like you are Jay-Z, like you've built your success. So when you get up there, you're supposed to carry that torch and carry it with dignity and carry it with class. And not be up there making fun and making jokes and, taking jabs and all this stuff. I thought that was distasteful. Now, let's get to the part about him talking about how, um, and that was a direct jab at Taylor Swift. I know a lot of people didn't catch that whole thing that he said about, I don't want to embarrass this young lady here, but she's won a lot of Grammys, but never album of the year. That was a jab at Taylor Swift because who won album of the year? Taylor Swift. And if you guys remember, Kanye West pulled that same stunt a couple years ago when he got on that stage and interrupted Taylor talking about, I'm gonna let you finish, but I just wanted to say Beyonce is the what? Greatest of all time. So that's the second time we've seen this type of reaction about how Beyonce should be, kind of the one winning. And I just felt like, when Kanye did it, we were like, but it's Kanye. Now it's Jay-Z doing it. Same type of situation, different Grammys, you know, different circumstances, but nonetheless, same thing. So I'm looking at it like, is this a protest? Which it was. That was his way of protesting against the Grammys. And yet subtle, if you were really paying attention, you could tell what that was about. Now, getting to this thing about how Beyonce have won all these Grammys and never album of the year. Like, I think that's so selfish to say because it's like, and he said it, he was like, my wife has won more Grammys than anyone in this room, but never album of the year. And my thing is, okay, so that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're giving us the facts. You've said it. Like Beyonce has won more Grammys than all them artists put together in that room. Like that's a huge deal. That's something you should be like, man, like, okay, yeah, my wife then done some stuff. Like it's like, can you imagine? And here's the thing for me. I'm like, we're talking of not just an artist, but we're talking about a female, and not just a female, but we're talking about a Black woman who has won more Grammys than a lot of artists in that room. I mean, Beyonce has a lot of Grammys. So it's like as a Black, and I'm not making this about race, I'm just putting this into context. Like you have a Black female who is running this music in terms of entertaining and putting on show productions. I mean, Beyonce is running that, while being a Black woman, while being a female, while being, so it's like, is that not enough? And the thing about it is that we've given Beyonce her flowers and still do. We've given her flowers, we've given her recognition, we've hailed her as the queen bee, and we still continue to. So my thing is that not enough? It almost seems, and that's where I think the selfishness comes into play, because it's like you're telling us the facts that this girl has won Grammys more than any other artist. And you're standing up there complaining because she didn't win album of the year. And you're going to use that time and that platform to kind of discredit and kind of put a damper on someone's own success. Like, that's the thing I don't understand, because I'm like, well, what more do you guys want? Like, all them Grammys, the Academy Award has awarded Beyonce more Grammys than anything. And I think it's disrespectful, because it's like you're going to turn around and kind of like slap them in the face and say, yeah, but that's not enough. Like, you guys can do more. How? Like, they've given your wife more Grammys than anybody in that room, but to you, no. So I'm a little confused because I'm like, that there's a level of selfishness that comes with that because it's almost like nobody else should have these accolades but Beyonce. And that's the thing about it is that, what I think is really kind of getting old is pushing this narrative that, oh, Beyonce should always be at the forefront, like almost kind of like forcing us to recognize her in every situation as the greatest. It almost feels that way that we should constantly recognize Beyonce in every situation. Like, oh, Taylor Swift won, but Beyonce is the greatest of all time. Or so and so won, but Beyonce should have more Grammy. It's like that constant push for pushing her at the forefront, I think is what's getting a little bit like seemed forced because it's like, why? Like, why should we've given the woman her flowers? And I feel like we give Beyonce, the whole world. I mean, you say Beyonce and the whole world goes crazy. Like, oh my gosh, people be fainting and all that stuff. So I feel like we've been good to Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like we've given her we've recognized her and the work that she's done. We do and still continue to. So what I don't think is fair is constantly though downplaying other people's success and constantly protesting when somebody else kind of takes that shine for a moment and it's not Beyonce. And then we want to go on stage and interrupt and bring that up. It's like, no, knock it off. Like, don't do that. Be a good sport and just kind of support and graciously be like, okay, I didn't win, but I'm Beyonce. I mean, it's like you're Beyonce. Like, what's an album of the year to I mean, and I know for artists that's a big deal, but the thing is that I feel like what Beyonce and Jay-Z have to recognize is that all these people you guys these are all artists. Like all these people you guys are in the room with, they're all artists, and the same way you, Beyonce and Jay-Z, you guys are wanting all these accolades and recognition. So is every other artist. I mean, these are the things artists work towards. So of course, everybody wants that. Like everybody wants their flowers. Everybody wants their recognition. So you all are artists. Those are the things that you all are working towards. So this business of, oh, well, I should get more because I'm so and so. No, it's like, this is artistry. Like everybody is fighting to get their accolade and their talent and their work and their creativity recognized. That's and it's the life of an artist. So I don't think you should look at that and be like, well, I deserve this, and why does that person get that? They don't deserve it. It's like, no, it's artistry. Everybody gets their moment. Everybody gets their run. And it is what it is. And, last year, some people didn't win that one this year. The year before that, there were people that didn't win that one the year after that. This year, people won that didn't win last year. Next year, people that didn't win this year are probably going to win. So, every year somebody's got to win. And it's not always going to be the same people because, the world is different. The audiences are, it's the people's vote. So him getting up there and talking about, definitely a Kanye moment because it's like this girl has won more Grammys than everybody in this room. And I don't mean to embarrass her, but it is almost an embarrassment because it's like, and then goes on to say that she's won more Grammys than everybody, but has not won Album of the Year. And then he does the ridiculous thing of saying, think about it. Like, it doesn't even add up, is what he's saying. Like, you guys think about it. That even add up. And my thing is, well, no, we don't have time to think about that because guess what? We're at the Grammys. And right now, what everybody's thinking about is their win. So, no, we're not going to sit down and think about how it doesn't add up that Beyonce didn't win Album of the Year. I'm like, who has time to think about that? Like, why would you ask us to think about that? We out, it's the Grammy. People are, waiting to see if they win, celebrating, telling their mom, telling their dad, having a good time. That's not the place to ask people to, oh, think about it, why is it that, my wife has won all these Grammys but never album of the year? Think about it. It's like, no, this is not the night for us to think about that. Like, we're definitely not thinking about that. You know what I mean? It's like, we're definitely not thinking about that. Like, not tonight. Maybe, after the win, we've got our Grammys sitting on the table, we'll think about it and be like, yeah, it might have been nice, but it's like maybe afterwards, but not when you're at the awards wondering if thinking about your own success and your own Grammy. So I'm like, the audacity to ask people at an award show to think about why is it your wife hasn't won album of the year, but she's won so many Grammys. Again, selfish. Very, very, very selfish. And we love Beyonce and Jay-Z, but they gotta knock it off. It's like, knock it off already. Like, y'all need to stop that. It's giving, yeah, like, I think they need to, it's giving really needy and pushy. Like, again, like I said, Beyonce always has to be the one, the one, the one. This idea that Beyonce was God's gift to the music industry, to mankind, it's like, no, she's talented, she's beautiful, we adore her, we love her, but there's other art out there. I mean, there's some great artists out there. There are great artists out there, So it's like we gotta, and it's art. So everything is, depends on who you're talking to. So I mean, this is creative. This, and when it comes to creativity, there are no limits. There are no, it is what it is. So I feel like you have to know that as an artist, and it can't always been. I mean, definitely yes. You want to do the best you can, and you always want to be, and the best. But I think there is this thing of knowing that there is room, and that when it's other people's time to shine, you let them shine. I think that's one of the great things about being a great artist, is that allowing other people to shine even in your presence, and being confident and knowing that what you have and what you bring to the world is still very much appreciated, but that other people can have their moment to shine alongside you. That's what makes a great artist, being able to accept that. That's what makes a great artist. That's what makes a great artist. That's what makes a great artist. You're Beyonce. People look up to you. Other artists adore you. So whenever an artist gets that moment to shine, I think there is a responsibility there to stand up and say, yeah, this is your moment. Shine. Go ahead. Shine as bright as you need to shine. I ain't pressed. I ain't scared. I have my lane. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Swift had a phenomenal year. This is her time to shine. She is well deserving of that album of the year. When I saw it, I was like, yeah. Just in keeping watch of the year that she's had. I mean, from the album to the Eras tour, that Eras tour, man. Ooh, I think that thing was even kind of nominated at the Oscars. Because, yeah, Homegirl was there. I think she lost in that category to something else. But that tour was nominated for something at the Oscars. Because I seen her sitting there, like, with a nomination. So, that Eras tour, man. That tour, yeah. Taylor Swift had a phenomenal year. And great album. I mean, she's evolved. The Taylor Swift from back in the day, not that she was ever bad, but, like, I mean, she's evolved. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she is well, when I say well deserving. And so, and everybody else, but I really feel like that title was fitting. Like, when I saw that, I was like, I'm glad she got that. Well deserving of that. That tour broke box office. I mean, I was watching about how it did at the box office, and I mean, grossed in like what? I don't even know the exact number. Y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like something crazy. So and she was toe to toe with Beyonce. They were both, if y'all recall, they were both on tours, and I mean, all people could talk about was the Beyonce and Taylor Swift tour. Like that's how toe to toe, I mean, both. And the great thing about that is that both of them different audiences, both in their lane. So it was never a comparison, oh, who's better. It was just like, no, you had two women's different genres doing their thing, rocking the different, genres. That's all it was. Beyonce was killing it over here. Taylor Swift was killing it over here with her genre of music. Phenomenal. So they both had a great year. But Taylor Swift, just kind of was a little bit more, but again, it's that audience thing. She just she just had a year. This was just her year, man. And the thing about Taylor Swift is, I will tell you the thing about Taylor Swift. Tell you guys the thing about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has a crazy audience. And Taylor Swift's going to be around for a minute because the thing about Taylor Swift is that her audience is crazy. Like she's pulling in like audiences at a different level. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Taylor Swift has the audience of the little girls. All the little girls love Taylor Swift. You see the parents, the dads bringing their little kids, and you see the moms carrying their little kids. So she's pulling in that crowd of little children and their parents. And then she's pulling in the teenagers. Because teenage girls love Taylor Swift. I mean, especially white teenage girls. And not just white, but just teenage girls. I shouldn't even say white because it's like just teenage girls. Like a lot of teenage girls like Taylor Swift. Majority Caucasian, but that's a huge audience. So, there you have it. So she's pulling in that crowd. And then she's also pulling in the young adults. So there's that crowd that she pulls in. And then even beyond some of the older ones than that, she's pulling them in. So Taylor Swift, her audience is, yeah, she's pulling in audiences from like all ages, which that's crazy, right? Because it's like to be able to pull that off, like you've got the from the babies to like the older adults, to have that whole audience, babies, teenagers, young adults, and then some old, crazy. I mean, crazy. So that's the audience Taylor Swift is pulling. You know what I'm saying? So, the numbers speak for themselves. So I mean, this was her year. So I just feel like, Jay-Z shouldn't have gone up there and because he kind of said that indirectly towards Taylor Swift. He didn't say her name, but we kind of knew what he was aiming at, and I just feel like distasteful. So anyway, that's my little spiel on that. I know some people are going to come in the comments here and talk about probably the Beyonce fans, but I like Beyonce. I don't, I listen to a couple of her hits, this and that, but so, I welcome the criticism if you would, but I ain't no